What's up, everybody? Kyle Barboza here, bass player, music educator, and let's talk about mistakes. So I was just playing Donna Lee. Okay, Donna Lee is it's a bebop jazz melody, but I have been playing that melody for 15 years. 15 years. Not that I play it all the time, but I revisit it every now and again still, and I still am having so much trouble getting that melody. My goal is to get that melody smooth at 200 BPM. That was 200 BPM, and I can't get it smooth. I cannot. I've never done a take with it where I felt like I got the whole thing smooth. And I want to, and I will. But the reason I say all this is because it's been a real source of frustration for me over the years. And I want to talk about mistakes and how to fix mistakes when you practice, and how to alleviate a lot of frustrations when you're trying to fix mistakes. So we are going to talk about the 3 reasons that you make a mistake on an instrument. There's only 3, but understanding them and mastering how to work with them is absolutely pivotal in reaching your goals as a player. So, all right, let's get right into it. We're going to start with the first of the 3 reasons, which is the most common and the one I harp on the most when I'm working with one-on-one clients. And that is, you're playing what you're playing too fast. You're going too fast. In other words, you are not controlling your tempo. That is so important. There's a reason I say you're not controlling your tempo, and not just you need to slow your tempo down, okay? 90% of the time, you do just need to slow the tempo down when you practice, because you can either get something wrong or right? If you get it wrong, you're reinforcing a mistake. Your body's actually reinforcing the mistake. If you get it correctly, if you get it correct, your body is reinforcing the correct way to play it. So obviously you want to reinforce that, right? Try to go slow enough, at a slow enough tempo to where you're getting it right. So let me give you an example in Donna Lee really quick. There's a phrase in this one that I've improved over the years. Actually, just recently I've improved, but it kills me. Among many other phrases in this melody, but this one kills me right here. It goes like this. I'm going to play it slow. Okay? Now, I play it a lot cleaner now, even slow, than I ever did before, but that's how fast I need to go to get it clean. Can I go faster? Maybe. But when you practice, if you're not getting it correct and clean, then you need to slow the tempo down. That's the first thing. 9 out of 10 times, that'll solve your problem. Go slow enough to get it right, and then you know the next step. Start gradually getting faster. You've heard people say it to you 1,000,000 times, but you have to do it, and you have to do it diligently. And here's a big one. Here's a big secret that you have not heard 1,000 times that will really help you. Not only do you have to slow the tempo down, but you need to stop spamming. What do I mean by that? You need to stop playing your reps in quick succession. I don't care if you're practicing 2 notes, 3 notes, 5 measures, whatever. Do not let yourself play and then play again and play again and play again and play again, right back to back to back. A lot of people do that. It does not help. Instead, take a breath between all of your phrases. Or all of your reps. Anytime you do a repetition of what you're practicing, stop, breathe, and then do it again. The space allows your body to process, it allows your brain to process, and you need to do that to cement in your muscle memory and in your brain what you're doing. So that's a big one. Not a lot of people talk about that, but try it in your practice. It will make you more efficient and it will help you. Okay, and one more thing that I kind of missed in there, all right? If you slow it down and you realize that, man, I've got to slow this down like way more than is even feasible for me to get this right? Let's say that you get there a lot, right? You're like, for me to get this right, I'd have to slow it down so ridiculously so that it doesn't make any sense anymore. That's okay. If you get to that point, turn the metronome off and play whatever you're playing out of time just to get the movements down. Go ahead and play as slow as you need to and out of time. And work on it that way. And then when you get it steady and fast enough to get the metronome back on, then get back on track with the metronome, okay? So again, we go back to control. Control the tempo. It doesn't necessarily mean always slowing things down, but it means usually to slow it down and to control your reps and to be very, very aware of how fast you can play it to where you can still get it right. That is how you practice really efficiently. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Okay, so at number 2, let's say you've slowed things down, you practiced something out of time, turn the metronome off, practiced it out of time. You got the muscle memory down, you know what it's supposed to sound like, you slowed it down, and you're still not getting it. Okay, number 2, I call this, you've got to smooth the seams. What do I mean by that? Well, first thing you got to do is isolate the small mistakes you're making. What is the exact spot where you're making a mistake? Is it these 3 notes? Or is it this one? Or is it this stretch right here? That's what it was for me. What is holding you back? What specific point in the music is holding you back? It could be multiple points in the music. But isolate one of them and just work that mistake. Just that. Okay, I call that the seam or the crack in your playing. All right, so find the seam and isolate that. Once you've worked on just that and you feel confident on it, let's say I work on just that little thing I was describing was getting me. It's this little micro shift here with my finger. Okay, once I feel good about that, now what you have to do is smooth over the seam. And what I mean by that is now you go a little bit before the mistake and a little bit after the mistake, and you smooth over that area now. Check it out. Here's a little before and after. Now I can put it in context, and then I go back to step 1. Am I going slow enough now to where I can get it right? But step 2, find your seams and smooth over them. Awesome. Okay, so let's say that you've slowed it down. You've smoothed out all your seams. You found your cracks, you smoothed out all your seams, and you're still hitting a wall with what you're playing. What is going on? If all else doesn't work, then it has to be that you have a technical issue in your playing that you have to figure out and solve before you even think about getting this thing right. What is that technical issue? Well, here are some common technical issues in your playing that it doesn't matter how much you slow things down, it doesn't matter how many times you isolate your mistakes, you're still not going to get there. And they include things like, do you play with your thumb above the neck instead of in the middle where it should be? Do your fingers fly a lot when you play? Like this. All right? Do you use your fingertips? Do you have good curvature in your left hand? Are you able to skip strings smoothly with your right hand? Whatever the issue is, it will make it impossible. Until you resolve that issue, you ain't going to play anything that can get in the way of, you're not going to play it. It just is what it is. So, how do you solve that? Because many of you are just saying, yeah, I do the flying fingers thing, or, yep, my thumb is not disciplined, or whatever it is. You probably know one or two of your technical issues. How do you address those? Well, there's 3 ways, okay? And they're all very similar. The best way to address these issues is visually, all right? Because if you don't look like a great player, you're not going to be a great player, right? Like, you can obviously see, if I play like this, you can see where my thumb is. That's not in the right spot. So, the best way to do this, have somebody else help you who's a professional, aka a private lesson or private lessons with a really good instructor. Number 2, though, if you can't get an instructor, that's fine. Play in front of a mirror. Doing a whole practice session in front of a mirror, it's a great thing. I play in front of mirrors a lot, and it shows you a lot about what you're doing when you play. So some people would be like, well, it's hard to play in front of a mirror because you're looking at yourself backwards. Believe it or not, you will be able to adapt to that very easily. You can play in a mirror just as well as you can play by looking at the bass. Like, it's crazy how that happens. But so just play in a mirror. Take a look at what you look like. Do you look like other great players? Go on YouTube, watch people like John Patitucci, watch Jaco Pastorius, watch Esperanza Spalding. Look at the way their hands look when they play. Do yours look like that? Does your posture look like that? You know what I mean? When they play, what do they look like and what do you look like, and what's the difference? That's the quickest way to solve a lot of these technical issues. The third way you can solve a technical issue is kind of very similar as the mirror thing, but I think it's even better. It's videotape yourself playing. I mean, it's such a game changer. Go ahead and just take a cell phone video of you playing. Take it so that you can see both of your hands. And again, evaluate what you look like when you play. Is your hand like this when you play? Does it look more like this? Or does it kind of look like this? Or like this, or whatever common issue you might have. Take a look at it, evaluate it, and then what do you need to do to fix that is the next question. But you got to know what you're doing before you fix it. These are the hardest to work out. By the way, they can be the simplest problems, but they're the hardest habits to break. So be patient. If you have a technical issue in your playing, be patient with yourself. Take your time working on it, and you'll get there. Okay, so there's the 3 things right there, though. You got to control your tempo. You got to isolate your mistakes and smooth them over. And then you got to figure out if you have a technical issue and solve that, address that as soon as possible. Those are the 3 things and the 3 reasons why you make mistakes in your practice. And just knowing that and knowing how to work with them can save yourself a lot of frustration. So I hope that helps people. Yeah. And speaking of being able to work with a private instructor, like I mentioned before, hey, hit me up. I teach private lessons. I'm happy to have a free consultation with you, talk about how I can help you reach your goals as a bass player. And yeah, so I'll answer any questions you have. Email's in the description. Get in contact with me. And other than that, get back to the shed, everybody. Happy practicing. See you guys next time.